Who here likes dogs? Who here owns a dog? I have a dog. His name is Sarge. He's the cutest thing alive, and he's a fat little thing. He burrows his nose into the closest person's arm at the slightest roll of thunder. He wags his tail at strangers. Sarge is the type of dog that will lick you to death. So what kind of dog do you think he is? Here's a hint. He's a mixed breed. He's a pit bull mix. Did that possibility ever cross your mind? Maybe that's not what you expected, because there's a rumor floating around that states that pit bulls are naturally aggressive, and Sarge does not sound very aggressive. This assumption is preposterous, and these innocent dogs are abused, abandoned, and killed every day because of it. Now, before I get into this, I must clarify something. Pit bulls are not a breed of dog. The term pit bull actually refers to a few breeds in the bully family that look similar. The three dogs that are most commonly considered pit bulls are the American Pit Bull Terrier, the American Staffordshire Terrier, and the Staffordshire Bull Terrier. Other bully breeds that are also labeled as pit bulls include the American Bulldog, the American Bully, and the Boxer. Today I will cover three main points. I will begin by talking about pit bulls taken from a dogfighting situation and what these dogs prove. Then I will discuss how friendly pit bulls can be in a study that proves it. And in my final point, I will address common myths that circulate pit bulls. My goal today is to convince you of one thing: pit bulls are not aggressive. First, I will discuss dogfighting. Pit bulls, as we all know, are commonly targeted and used for dogfighting. This is what coined the negative stereotype in the first place, as dogfighting is capable of turning good dogs into bad dogs. However, not even all fighting dogs become aggressive. According to research conducted by the Cunningham School of Veterinary Medicine, because negative predictive value and positive predictive value are sensitive to the frequency of dog aggression in the population being analyzed, these results should not be applied to the general population of pit bull type dogs. For some background information, this particular study was actually done entirely on pit bulls taken from a dogfighting situation. It found that dogs with more scars on their head, chest, and front legs were more likely to be aggressive than dogs who did not have as many scars. What this quote means is that the results of this study should not be applied to pit bulls in general. They should only be applied to dogs taken from dogfighting situations. This study also found, however, that some of the dogs that were ranked as having the most scars were actually the friendliest. This suggests that some pit bulls actually have a disposition to be friendly no matter how much fighting they did. If anything, we can generalize that pit bulls are actually naturally friendly. Now we're moving on to discuss how friendly pit bulls are. I would like to ask you this: have you ever met a pit bull? If so, did it immediately lunge at your throat? Well, it's possible that it did. It's possible that any dog you meet can be vicious. However, it's unlikely that a pit bull would be. I asked my aunt whether or not she'd ever met a mean pit bull. She said that she has, but these particular dogs were owned by a drug dealer who'd actually trained them to attack strangers. She said that most of the dogs the pit bulls that she'd met were actually friendly. I personally have never met a mean pit bull, and I've met at least a dozen. Now let's delve into some test results. The American Temperament Test Society did a test evaluating the behavior of many different dog breeds. The three main dog breeds considered pit bull type dogs were involved in this test. The test consisted of situations that test behavior towards strangers, reaction to loud or sudden noises, sudden visual stimulus, and reaction to strange textures. The American Pit Bull Terrier scored an 87.4%, meaning that 87.4% of the terriers tested passed this test. The American Staffordshire Terrier passed with an 85.5%, and the Staffordshire Bull Terrier scored a 90.9%. The average of these three numbers is 87.9%, so we can generalize that the pit bull type dog scored an 87.9%. Now we will compare this to the golden retriever that scored an 85.6%, excuse me. To put this, according to the results of this test, pit bull type dogs are actually friendlier than the golden retriever, a breed that is recognized for its friendliness. There are many harmful myths that surround pit bulls. One thing I'd like to point out is that because of the term pit bull refers to many different breeds and the definition of a pit bull varies per person, these false statements are not credible because they are too vague. They do not narrow down on specific breeds. Myth number 1. Pit bulls have locking jaws. According to the Humane Society of Harrisburg area, pit bulls have the same jaw structure as any other dog. This means that pit bulls do not have any special jaw locking mechanism. Their bites are no different from that of any other dog. Myth number 2. It is unsafe to rescue an adult pit bull from a shelter because its past is unknown. It's actually safer to get a full-grown dog than a puppy because you know exactly what to expect from an adult dog. Puppies are unpredictable even if you train them. Training does not guarantee that a puppy will behave the way you want it to as an adult. An adult dog's personality does not change. Myth number 3. Pit bulls can bite much harder than other dogs. There's actually no scientific evidence that proves that pit bulls have a higher bite pressure than any other dog. I would like to stop for a moment to talk about just how harmful these myths are to these dogs. According to the Save a Bull Rescue website, Animal People reports a 93% euthanasia rate for pit bulls and only 1 in 600 pits finding a forever home. Okay, think about that for a second. So this means that most of these dogs are euthanized almost immediately after making it to the shelter, and the dogs who live have almost no chance of finding a home. Being labeled as a pit bull is a death sentence because of these myths. Hopefully, this speech has shed some light on the topic of pit bulls. Perhaps a common misconception was cleared up for you. For my own dog's sake, I hope you understand that these dogs are not aggressive. I don't want anything to happen to Sarge or any other pit bull. Now I ask of you to view these dogs differently. Do not fear them any more than you would any other strange dog. When you hear someone say something that isn't true about pit bulls, please correct them. It could save a dog's life. With your help, we can stop the misconceptions. Eventually, less pit bulls will die in kill shelters and less will roam the streets. No matter what you do after this, please remember, pit bulls are not vicious dogs. Thank you.